when I got in here and it started dripping all over the place, I was like, oh, I've got some clean stuff in my bag, but you know when you're like, I don't want to get on all floors now and start scrubbing that up.
Why not?
Because I hope it comes up, I really do, otherwise it's going to look a joke.
It could be a humbling experience.
You've annoyed me with that, because you've made that look even more dirtier than
I've
it.
just brought out the detail which you need.
There you go. Thank you so much. Cheers. Yeah, the rest of it can be covered up, can't
When the
it?
police officer comes along, you just say, yeah, my number plate is showing.
I'll just say to him, I'm waiting for the summer when it's not going to be like this, because that would be more ideal. I'm not enjoying it anymore.
For the summer in the UK.
I'm waiting for the. So as well as keeping our bikes cleaned, it's also important to keep them insured. Speaking of which, I do believe Red has the news for us. So, Red, tell us, what's happening?
So, there is going to be a major mix-up in the insurance world as MCE have gone bust, basically. They're currently in the administration, and all their policies are going to be ended, which includes your policy as well. Hooray. So, as of November 5th, all of their underwriters were suspended from creating new policies for new customers. And as of the 19th, the whole company was placed into administration, which is never a good sign. There were signs beforehand because they were suspending van insurance, but now it's gone completely across to motorcycles. So don't know if we have really an accurate estimate as to how many people are affected by this, but there are loads across the UK as they were one of, if not the cheapest insurance provider for motorcyclists on the road here in the UK.
Oh, definitely. So what exactly does that mean for the people who do have a policy with MCE?
So everything will come to an end January 31st, and then everyone's going to need to find themselves new insurance, which means suddenly the insurance market is now a pack of vultures because they want your custom and they want your money.
Is there anything in place to maybe stop insurance companies ranking up the price for all these people that now find themselves in need of a new policy?
So there is an idea floating around at the moment, and this is only an idea. It's all sort of just in the planning phase at the moment. If I don't balls up the name, the Financial Conduct Agency are looking into ways to try and prevent insurers from charging people more every year that they're with their insurance, renewing their policy. So at the moment, insurance in the UK is very much when your policy is up for renewal, you're going to get charged more by default, which is unfortunately just the way it is. So there is a massive competition where people are just flying around left and right to get a new policy somewhere else because it's just cheaper. And that's fine for the customer to a point, but that still means that we, the customer, still have to do all of the legwork, which is irritating, especially if you're like me and you don't have all your no claims bonuses saved in the same place. But I know. It does mean that hopefully if the plans do go through, they were accepting feedback from potential customers for this idea. But me being the cynical individual I am, I think that even if a plan was to come forward for loyalty schemes to come out for these insurance companies, so every year that you renew and your no claims bonus goes up, you do actually see yourself saving money in the long run. I think there's probably going to be a way where insurance companies are going to find a way around this and still end up charging you more for later on. For example, at the moment we're seeing every insurance company wants your custom because you're a new customer, so they try and get you in that way. I can see it being the opposite way around, where, well, if you've been with this company for 2 years, then yeah, we'll give you insurance, but it's going to cost you more money.
Okay, interesting. And going back just to the customers, obviously the ones who are paying monthly, I imagine their policy just ends on the 31st. But with those who have paid in full, is there any idea what will happen with them and their money?
So customers who have paid in full for the entire year, if your policy doesn't end at the end of January, for example, if it ends in April or beyond, then you should be entitled to up to 90%, hopefully more, of the money which you've paid back for the unused months. So if you've got 5 years of unused months, hopefully you'll get 90% of that money back.
Oh, okay. Brilliant.
In theory, yeah, it's brilliant.
In theory, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Whether it works.
That's it, that is the problem.
Frustrating thing as someone who has a policy with them, it's been, why has this happened so quickly?
Yes.
It was only announced in sort of October, late October, early November, where it was MCE are in trouble, and I think it was the 9th of November where they said they can no longer issue out policies, and it was like, oh, okay. it didn't necessarily worry me because it was just they couldn't issue out policies.
Precisely, yeah.
So I was under the impression of, okay, so the company's not in a great place and they're clearly maybe not going to be around next year. Not a problem. I understand things happen. But it's come around so quickly. Obviously, there's a lot of background talk about now the new sort of company have come in and they're going to administrate it. They're going to finalise all the details. There's been talks, haven't there, with the chief exec of MCE Insurance who thinks it's all one big conspiracy theory. But it's happened so quickly. That's what's bugged me.
We have seen what the chief executive has come out with has been more, to me it feels more like he's been caught red-handed doing something. That's just a personal opinion, defamation, please hold off. But it does seem sort of like reactionary to what we've been told.
Definitely.
And he has also came out and stated that there is an administration company which has been desperately trying to get information, customer information off him, which may be entitled to or not. But there's so many questions going around at the moment. I think the problem is we need to know more about what's going on, especially from a legal standpoint as well, to know what the position is for the people who genuinely had a policy. I think it's just a good rule of thumb anyway to see what's happening first before we just start randomly coming out with these statements saying, well, I'm genuinely interested if there was a mismanagement of money and whether he's been caught red-handed doing something he shouldn't have been. But at the end of the day, an insurance company's gone under, and that affects a lot of riders.
It's definitely more than sort of comprehensible because I mean, MCE has always had this weird reputation. They are the cheapest insurance company out there in terms of motorcycles. I don't know what their van and car insurance is like. I've never had a policy with that. I've had a few now motorcycle policies with them, and it's always £50 to £100 cheaper than the next competitor. And it makes you think, okay, fine, you're an organisation that prides yourself on giving cheaper insurance because obviously you think the cheaper the policy, the more we'll have in, and that will make up for the lost money in terms of how much maybe the policy should be or how much our competitors are charging. The thing is I've also heard, if you go onto Trustpilot and you look at MCE's customer reviews,
is it a little bit
they're
dodgy?
Terrible.
Oh.
They're pretty much, I'm trying to claim, and there's so much red tape or there's so much hidden, underwritten stuff in my policy that I didn't read or I didn't check. I should have had someone go over it. I can't claim. They don't want this. They don't want that. Obviously, bikers, I think motorcyclists sometimes find themselves in this red tape anyway when it comes to modifications. A lot of motorcycles are modified.
Yes.
Not all of us declare our modifications.
Our bikes are fine. Ours are fine.
Ours are okay. Yeah,
great. Perfectly road legal.
Don't worry about ours. I'm just speaking on a broader sense. And I think with MCE, they've obviously, like you say, very easily something dodgy could be happening. Maybe the whole company from the start has been a bit, I've always looked at it a bit red tapey because I've been like, well, it's got a bad Trustpilot review, but I don't plan to claim on my insurance. So I've taken the risk and I've had policies with them, including this year. Now though, obviously, what else has happened? Because with all that money coming in, you'd think it would be quite okay to sustain a tiny little insurance firm out in Gibraltar, so not even paying the rates that we pay, I imagine, here for business and tax. I obviously understand Gibraltar is still part of the UK setup, but I can't imagine it's anything like what they pay over here.
And that's the thing, like, again, we don't want to go too much into it, but like, is it a tax haven in comparison to the UK? The fact that you don't have to pay X amount simply because you are on our very tiny island.
Yeah, because obviously this is the thing as well. You've got MCE. They've made a big song and dance about this, MCE, haven't they? They've said MCE company or MCE insurance company has gone into administration. MCE Limited UK is very much okay, and it does make you think. Well, okay, so what's the difference? What's the lines between the two companies, and who's had to? Who's been sacrificed, basically? Who's going to go over from the first MCE company and be sacrificed for that one? Who's going down with it? And like you say, because there are two companies, both obviously representing MCE, one of them's based in the UK, one of them's based in Gibraltar, and they're the ones handling the policies.
Yeah,
the mind opens, isn't it? The mind does open to possibilities, but we only have the facts. And I mean, I've shown you the emails that I've received. They're not very detailed. It's just MCE Insurance has gone into administration. It's now become Green Realisations 123 Limited. Why has this happened? And they say about how we haven't been able to sort of comply with the Gibraltar financials, and all this. We haven't been able to do this, etc. What will happen now? But it's not, there's when you then read the chief executive's comments about what he believes, and he doesn't think it's been financially supported. it does make you think there's more to this story.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, it's nice later on, if we do end up finding out more information, it would be great to go through if there are any sort of like legal precedents over this, like, yeah, he was laundering money or he was doing that. Again, entirely speculation, not factual. I think as I'm a cynical git. So if something like that does come out, then personally, I'm just not surprised.
Of course.
I'm really not.
And I think going forward, even after MCE is all gone, which will obviously be very soon, as we know with the insurance, we've had a good conversation about, so all these people now need to find new policies, myself included. I'm going to have to be on the comparison websites later this month and try and sort out new insurance as of the 31st of January or 1st of February. That gives these competitors a grand opportunity. They know business is about to flow in. There needs to now be strong control over how much they can charge. There shouldn't now be this free-for-all where all of a sudden insurance companies are ranking up the prices because they know people need insurance now, because
Precisely, yeah.
I think MCE, I don't even remember the number of how many customers it has, but it's a lot. Do you know what I mean? That's a lot of people who all need insurance at the same time. And you've spoke very recently to me about this loyalty scheme. So MCE were one of the best for it in terms of the new joiner scheme. You could join MCE for a very good price, and then the next year, the price wouldn't be so good. So you'd leave, go to another one, get another joiner bonus, and then come back to MCE. It's not like they don't even keep your records.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? You can just go back. We've talked a little bit about, so that there's a new joiner scheme, but what about a loyalty scheme?
Precisely. Give me a moment.
Have you got any view of how this could be magically resolved?
That's the problem. I don't.
You
Because
don't?
I don't understand the market as a general thing. I just see, hey, let's get insurance. Then there's a number that comes up, and I go with the cheapest one that still gives me fully comp.
Because I do have a view about it. I think personally, clearly there's been money to refund these policies, okay? And that's going to come from somewhere, from whether it be the sort of overlooking authority in Kroll or the FCS, whatever it is, or the Gibraltar Financial Committee.
Yeah, agency.
There is money somewhere, and I think that money, right, it's going to be used maybe for the refunds. I don't know where that comes from. But I actually think, rather than putting all the work and all the hassle and all the stress on the customers to go and find new policies, check their emails to see that their policy is ending, because I bet that's going to be a problem. I can see that coming up. I think what should have happened is they should have reached out themselves to any insurance companies, brokers out there who were willing to listen to sort of what sort of customer-based clientele they had, and said, look, we will pay you X amount to take on these policies. When the policies end, you're in no legal obligation to even offer a renewal. But I think almost like how a 2P process works, where if the company goes into administration, the employer is protected sometimes by a 2P, and they can go over to a new company, or they can obviously just take redundancy. I think it should have at least been offered out to some other companies. They should have taken on the policies and then offered to the client. Do you want to go with another insurance company, or do you want to go down the refund route? I think that would have been a lot less stress and hassle for the owners. It definitely would have made my life a lot easier, because, like I say, I'm going to be on comparison websites now for the next few weeks, probably making sure I get the best deal, you know, what's got the best benefits on it. I shouldn't have to do that. My policy should almost be cloned, copied into a new insurance company who are willing to take it on. Like I say, not just willing to take it on because, oh, someone else has gone into administration, we'll pick up the pieces. There does need to be some financial incentive. They offer it out if you're willing to take it on. I don't know how that would work with existing claims. For example, if someone's wrote off their motorcycle or been involved in an accident, does the claim go over? I doubt it would, because I don't think many insurance companies would want to take on heavy claims, because even then, if they do get a financial reward for taking on all these policies, that money's probably straight away going back into the clientele's pocket. But I think something like that should have at least been discussed or thought about, and I don't think that's happened. I think clearly the company's gone into administration. The main overlooking board has sort of decided, right, that's it, finito, done. Let's get the money back to the clientele as soon as possible.
See, I do like the idea of that. However, I think there is a lot of legal information, paperwork, and so on and so forth. If you were just to copy paste a policy from A to B, a company might act differently from B company, perhaps that might be where we're seeing some of the issues with MCE come in, because maybe they weren't doing things entirely above board, entirely speculation, of course. But perhaps in moving these policies over, there's a lot of insurance companies out there who won't accept that new policy simply because they would rather have that customer come brand new so they can offer them a better deal, and then renew the policy and have more money out of them because they're going to be insuring them again for the entire year, which is incredibly unfortunate. And I know for some of us out there, especially those of us who have purchased a brand new bike, our insurance policy rolls around the same time as the MOT and also the tax. So it's easy to keep all those three things in the same month. Expensive, but now your insurance has now been just kicked several months down the line, or perhaps beforehand, so now you have to arrange things in a different way. Again, I'm going to take the cynical approach. I think there's so much legal issue in there of just copying A and B and moving it over. And again, with the market now being this overbearing sort of vulture sort of policy thing, it's just, yeah, I think it will benefit insurance companies more just to refuse it flat out and just say, no, we want the customer to come to us directly, or through the comparison sites, and then just simply.
I see what you mean. I think with the idea, though, that the Commission has sort of come up that maybe there doesn't need to be this big push for new joiner schemes, and we maybe need to have a bit more of a loyalty bonus sort of impact on the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think perhaps maybe we could just go over, do you know what I mean, from that? Because if we're not focused on new prices, you're a new customer, here's a great deal, but the existing customer, he gets high rates. I don't think that would be too much of an issue. I understand there is still a GDPR thing to come over, but as of this point on, it's almost as if, I actually have a great example. My breakdown cover runs out this sort of time as well.
Ooh.
Now, my breakdown was with a company called Together Limited, okay?
Right.
Absolutely fine, nothing wrong with them whatsoever. They've covered me for the year. They've come out to rescue me once on that cold, wet day.
Yep.
And everything's been fine, not a problem with them. They are still in existence, they're still offering policies, but they are no longer doing my cover. So I have been passed over to Emergency Assist Limited, and they've already processed my renewal, but it's a brand new company. Nothing to do with Together. They've sold the information, as far as I've been made aware via email. The information has been sold across to just them, and they will now handle all the renewals. So I've already got my email from the new breakdown provider to say, here's your membership number, your policy starts on this, and we will take this much money, which is the exact same, thankfully, so I've not got much of an issue with it, on this date. I personally, if MCE were to do the same thing and say, here's such and such insurance company, on the 31st or the 1st of February at midnight, your policy, or 1 past midnight as it normally is, your policy will move over to them because we are no longer in existence as of that time. We will be finitoed. They'll take over the rest of your policy. You don't have to pay them anything. They won't need to, they'll just have to contact you with their membership, because a lot of insurance have login details, so you can view your online portal and your documentation, which is always quite important to have both digitally and physically, I think. And that would be the only form of contact there'd need to be. And I think if it can be done in one field, breakdown, no excuse why it couldn't be done with this insurance. It would save me a lot of time and hassle. I haven't had to go look for new breakdown.
I can't argue it. I want to disagree with him, but he just makes it so hard. And the only thing I've got to come back with again is the whole GDPR thing and the legal thing. Is because all of your information, your name, address, your motorcycle, the capacity of it, everything, it's all there on your current policy. So would it be a breach of some sort if that information was sold or transferred over to another company? Even if the new company, the new policy holders for insurance were to say, all right, well, you've come to us, but we'll give you like 20% off. I wish.
Oh, yeah.
But in the
Dream world.
Yeah, in the ideal world, that could be a thing. And I quite like that idea. It's just where I sort of stand is like, what's going to happen ultimately with that information? And then I'm going to have to sign something at the end of the day to basically say, yes, I agree that you can do this with my information, and I'm happy for you to be the new policy holder.
I see where you're coming from. I understand GDPR is this big open field. Have you, though, read all of your insurance policy? Have you read the entire document? Have you ever opened up the 30 plus pages? And you're smiling and laughing because I know you haven't.
I'm legally obligated to say, yes, indeed, I have.
Yeah, we all have. Of course we have, officer. But we haven't. We have paid for a policy based on the information that we provided and were offered a quote for. They then offer you an insurance policy if you're going to go with maybe, not everyone goes with the cheapest. Some people go with, does it include breakdown cover? Does it include a rental bike if my bike is off the road, etc. But they'll give you this policy and it will detail all of this, but it will also detail a lot of unknown information. And I think the only way that my breakdown cover has gotten away with this, Together and Emergency Assist, is I guarantee that there must have been something wrote, I don't know for sure, but there must have been something wrote in that policy that says we have the right to potentially move across, sell, offer your personal information for the purpose of a policy to another provider. Maybe not to sell it to a third party so that they can give you marketing calls saying, hi there, I hear you were involved in a crash. Yeah. Nothing like that.
Are you paying too much for your car insurance?
Exactly, nothing like that. But there must have been something. If there wasn't, then of course we go back into that conspiracy of, is this all illegal? Do we need to start reading our 32 pages? Do we all need to hire a lawyer
that was going to be my next thing.
to read through everything?
The money which we're saving on this new policy, do we have to spend that on a lawyer just to go through all of these 30-odd pages just to say, so am I legally covered or not?
Yeah, I got given a refund for my insurance, but it was spent on the lawyer to read over my new policy. It's not an ideal situation.
I don't know about any of you, but I asked a copyright lawyer to look into something which I potentially wanted to do with the channel, and they quoted me £200 an hour.
Big bucks.
Big bucks.
That is some big bucks right there.
Absolutely.
And maybe it's not the ideal situation. I understand not everybody can afford to pay that. But I think maybe, and I speak obviously guilty myself, I think it's time we obviously go down our policies, we read them all black and white, word for word, all the legal terms that no one enjoys. Maybe if you're lucky enough and you have a friend who's in that field, maybe get them to do it. But I can only imagine the breakdown cover has gotten away with it because of that. I don't know the MCE policy off by heart, but it's MCE.
Why not?
Why
you
not?
You should know it off by heart.
I know, I've just accused you, haven't I?
He's sat here on his bloody high chair, on his high chair, accusing me of not reading my insurance policy, and yet here he is now. So, I've not read through mine. It's fine.
I don't know what's in it, but I think there must be, it could easily be that they have a similar term and condition, something crazy like 37.1.2b. Do you know what I mean? We all know how these contracts and policies are worded. If they have it wrote in somewhere like that, I don't understand why it wasn't offered, why it couldn't have just been paid out there or given across the field, maybe even have a little bit of a bidding war of who's going to get this big lump sum of money, and then all of a sudden you take on all the policies. And like I say, in most people's cases, like myself, only have 6-7 months on the policy. I know that there are some people out there, and I feel really bad for them, who are 11 months through a 1-year policy and they have now lost their no claims bonus. And that's why
I think that is the biggest kick in the nuts of all.
That's where my point comes from. I think it is only fair to these people who paid a price for a policy, which if you don't claim for, you are guaranteed a 1-year no claims bonus or an additional year.
You should be entitled
to
that no claims bonus because you haven't claimed anything, even if it is 11 months. When that 1 month goes into your new policy, you've still technically not claimed over a year. But you need that little bit of paper or that digital certificate to say, no, you've been with this company for the entire year, the policy has ended, and you have not claimed.
Yeah. We didn't give you any money, you gave us way too much money for a bit of paper. And I think those people, I don't know how many there are, because again, you'd have to go into the statistical field of it all and what policy ends where and when did it start. But there are some people out there who have had 11 months completed of their 12-month, their 1-year insurance policy, and they have now lost that no claims bonus. Are you telling me that they couldn't have just given the policy to another provider, they survive the month, they write the no claims bonus? The only reason I say that is because I do believe a lot of MCE's customers are mainly 125 based. And I know not everyone on a 125 is 17, 18, 19 years old, but the majority of them I think are. And so for those people, I know when I was 16 on a 50cc and 17, 18, on my 125, getting a no claims bonus is so important. It really helps you simply because you're young at the time, or were young. And also, as insurance companies have proven, if you are male especially, your rates are higher. And I don't have a problem with that, simply because statistically we are more likely to be a bit silly and have our accidents. Again, I don't know it, but apparently it's been proven. So, being that age, a no claims bonus, a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year no claims bonus makes the world of difference. And there are going to be some guys out there, 10, 11, even 9 months I would feel a bit hard done by.
Yeah.
Who now don't get it. I just think another company could have very easily taken on the policies, offered it out. A lot less stress for us as well.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I think, while I agree with a lot of what you're saying, I think, at least from the legal standpoint and my very broad misunderstanding of the entire process, I want my information to stay with myself and with the policy holder. If that gets transferred over to someone else, I can see myself at the time, if my policy was ending, yeah, sure, just move it over to a new insurance company or an underwriter, as long as I know who they are, or as long as I'm able to look into who they are. Because I don't want my information just going to any old Bob or Billy that's got an insurance company. At the same time, I don't know, what's your stance on it? It's just...
My stance is more, I think, for the owners out there who have been affected, for the policy holders out there who have been affected, who are now going to be like me, and they're going to be on all those comparison websites, spending hours and hours trying to get a new policy. Remember, there's no guarantee how long this refund process will take for those of us that have paid in full. That could take months. Not everyone is, we live in tough times, obviously, with COVID affecting the working situation. Not everyone's got the money to now go splash on that policy. I just think there's got to be something underwritten in some of these documentations, the underwrites, the tiny small print that we never read, that sort of says that they can somewhat give our information. These calls have to come from somewhere. I think insurance companies obviously are one of the biggest sort of organisations we give our data to. Numbers, emails, addresses, names, mother's maiden names. They know everything. They know absolutely everything about us. And so I wouldn't have had a problem with it just having another person on the list, basically. Another company coming in, there's your information, they contact me, here's your new membership number for your policy, which is only going to be for the remainder of what your policy was with Green Realisations or Green Realisation, whatever it's called, 123, formerly MCE. That's the end of it. We hope to never hear from you because we don't want you to claim.
Of course.
End of story.
All right, so we have two very different perspectives in that regards. I personally want my information to go where I know it's going to, and Rhythmic would rather the insurance company deal with it and it goes to a new underwriter and the entire hassle of everything just being solved. That's fantastic. Let us know, are you in the red corner or are you in Rhythmic's corner? I'm Uncle Red, this is the Rhythmic Biker. Do let us know if you like what we've done here. There's a little poll up there so you can get involved in our two opinions, and as always, like button down below if you like what we've done, and subscribe for more content. These are the Wolf Tales.
No, it's just Andy.
But
I say Wolf Tales.
But why you got to ruin it like that? And these
are the Wolf Tales.
I'm just going to go.